Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're delving into a story that embodies the timeless virtue of patience. In a world where everything seems to move at breakneck speed, we often forget that some of the most precious things in life take time to develop. This is the story of a humble farmer whose unwavering patience and belief in the impossible led to an outcome that transformed not just his life, but the lives of those around him. So sit back, relax, and let's explore this tale together. In a small, peaceful village, surrounded by towering mountains and lush valleys, lived a farmer named Lee. Lee was a man of simple means but great determination. Every day, he could be found in his fields, working tirelessly from dawn until dusk. He was known for his dedication to his land, which, though not large, provided just enough to sustain his family. Despite his hard work, Lee often dreamed of something more, a way to improve his family's life and secure a future for his children. Cut to a scene of Lee returning home after a long day of work, greeted by his smiling children and wife. They share a modest meal together, and Lee gazes out the window as the stars begin to appear in the night sky. One night, after a long day of work, Lee sat by the window, watching the stars twinkle in the sky. His children were asleep, and his wife was sewing by the fire. As he looked out at the vast expanse of stars, he remembered the stories his father had told him as a child, stories of a rare and magical bamboo that, once grown, could reach the heavens. This bamboo, the legend said, had the power to bring great prosperity to those who could successfully cultivate it. The idea of growing such bamboo took root in Lee's mind, and from that night on, it became his dream. Determined to turn his dream into reality, Lee sought out the village elder, a man who had lived through many seasons and was known for his wisdom. The elder listened to Lee's story with a thoughtful expression. "I have heard of this bamboo," the elder said slowly. "It is said to be the strongest and tallest of all plants, but it is also the most elusive. The seeds are hidden in a remote part of the forest, where few dare to venture. And even if you find them, you must have great patience, for the bamboo tests those who seek to grow it." The scene shifts to Lee preparing for his journey, packing a small bag with provisions. He embraces his family and sets off into the wilderness. Despite the elder's warnings, Lee was undeterred. He packed a small bag with provisions and, after bidding his family farewell, set out on a journey into the unknown. He walked for days, his path taking him through dense forests, over rocky mountains, and across fast-flowing rivers. The journey was fraught with challenges, wild animals, harsh weather, and treacherous terrain, but Lee pressed on, driven by the hope that the bamboo seeds would change his life. After many days of travel, Lee found himself in a secluded grove, deep in the mountains. The grove was quiet, with ancient trees standing tall and a clear stream flowing through the rocks. It was here, among the roots of an old tree, that Lee found what he had been searching for, a small cluster of bamboo seeds. They were tiny, almost insignificant in appearance, but Lee knew that these seeds held the potential to fulfill his dream. Lee returns to his village, where he is greeted with curiosity by his neighbors. He begins to prepare a special plot of land in his field, carefully planting the seeds and watering them with care. Lee returned to his village, his heart full of hope. His neighbors were curious about what he had found, but Lee kept his discovery to himself. He didn't want to raise their expectations or invite their skepticism. Instead, he focused on preparing a special plot in his field, one that he enriched with the best soil and nutrients. With great care, he planted the seeds, spacing them perfectly, and began the process of nurturing them. Each day, he rose before dawn to water the soil, remove any weeds, and tend to the patch with unwavering dedication. As the first year passed, Lee's bamboo patch showed no signs of life. The soil remained undisturbed, and there was no hint that the seeds were even growing. His neighbors began to take notice. "What is Lee doing?" they whispered. "Why does he waste his time on a patch of dirt?" Despite their comments and the lack of visible progress, Lee remained patient. He believed in the bamboo's potential, even when there was nothing to show for his efforts. The scene shifts to Lee's family sitting together one evening. His wife expresses her concerns, suggesting they need to focus on other crops that would provide food for their children. At home, Lee's wife began to worry. Lee, she said gently one evening as they sat by the fire, our children need food, and we cannot wait forever for this bamboo to grow. Perhaps it's time to plant something else, something that will provide for our family. Lee understood her concerns, but he couldn't give up. I know it seems like nothing is happening, he replied, but I have faith that the bamboo will grow. It just needs time. Another year passed, and still, the bamboo showed no signs of life. Lee's neighbors grew more vocal in their criticism. Why does Lee continue to waste his time? They asked each other. He is foolish to believe in such a thing. Even Lee's children, who had always looked up to him, began to ask why their father was spending so much time on a barren patch of land. The doubts of others began to weigh heavily on Lee, and he found himself questioning whether he had made the right choice. Cut to a scene of Lee visiting the village elder again. The elder listens as Lee expresses his doubts, offering words of wisdom and encouragement. One day, overwhelmed by doubt, Lee visited the village elder once more. I have done everything you told me, Lee said, but still, nothing grows. Did I make a mistake? The elder looked at Lee with kind eyes and said, the bamboo is testing you, Lee. It tests your patience, your faith, and your dedication. Remember, the greatest things in life are often those that take the longest to achieve. Do not give up now, for you may be closer than you think. As the third year began, Lee's family faced new challenges. A bad harvest affected their other crops, and they struggled to make ends meet. Lee's wife, though supportive, was growing more anxious. Lee, she pleaded, our children need food and clothing. We cannot afford to wait any longer for this bamboo. Please, let's plant something else. Lee's heart was heavy. He knew his family was struggling, and he was torn between his dream and their immediate needs. The scene shifts to Lee late at night, standing in his field under the moonlight. He is deep in thought, wrestling with the decision of whether to continue or abandon the bamboo. That night, Lee stood in his field under the moonlight, staring at the barren patch of soil. The weight of his family's struggles pressed down on him, and for the first time, he considered giving up on the bamboo. But as he stood there, something deep within him refused to let go. He remembered the elder's words and the stories of the bamboo's strength and resilience. I will give it one more year, he decided. If nothing happens by then, I will let it go. As the fourth year began, Lee continued to care for the bamboo, though now his actions were tinged with doubt. He still rose early, still watered the soil, but the fire of hope that had once driven him was dimming. Then, one morning, as Lee walked through his field, he noticed something different. There, breaking through the soil, was a tiny green shoot. It was small, fragile, almost unnoticeable, but it was there. Lee's heart soared. For the first time in years, there was a sign of life. The camera zooms in on the tiny shoot, and over the course of the next few weeks, it grows rapidly. Lee is seen tending to it with renewed energy, and the shoot quickly transforms into a tall bamboo stalk. Over the next few weeks, that tiny shoot began to grow at an astonishing rate. It seemed that every time Lee checked on it, the bamboo had grown several inches taller. His neighbors, who had mocked him, now watched in amazement as the bamboo reached higher and higher. Within just 6 weeks, the bamboo grew to over 90 feet tall, towering above everything else in the village. Lee's dream had finally become a reality. What had once been an empty patch of soil was now a magnificent bamboo forest. The bamboo stalks stood tall and strong, their leaves rustling in the wind. The villagers, who had once doubted Lee, now gathered around to admire the forest that had appeared almost overnight. They couldn't believe their eyes. The bamboo was not only tall and strong but also abundant. It provided material for building, crafting, and trading with nearby villages. Lee's perseverance had paid off in ways that none of them had ever expected. Lee stands among the bamboo, his family by his side, all of them smiling as they admire the forest that now provides them with everything they need. Lee's bamboo forest brought prosperity not only to his family but to the entire village. The once barren land was now a source of wealth and stability, ensuring that Lee's children would grow up with opportunities he had never imagined. His patience, his faith, and his unwavering belief in the bamboo had transformed not just his life, but the lives of everyone around him. Lee's story teaches us that true growth often happens beneath the surface, where we cannot see it. Patience isn't just about waiting, it's about trusting the process, even when there are no visible signs of progress. In a world that constantly demands quick results, we can learn from Lee that the most beautiful and enduring things take time to flourish. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. Remember, the power of patience can lead to outcomes more beautiful than we can imagine. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a little patience in their life.